So good evening, everyone. I want to tell you a little bit about an experience I had when I was a fifth-year medical student. It was the first time I was in the hospital. I was excited. Oh my God, I get to touch patients. But that's where I first met Joseph. Joseph came into the hospital with what seemed to be a simple problem, an open fracture, meaning that the bone had broken through the skin. It was okay though. It was simple, it was uncomplicated. So we do what we would normally do. We cleaned the wound, we set the bone, and we started him on antibiotics to prevent any infection. But just 3 days later, things took a turn. What had started off as a simple infection was starting to show signs of a deep infection. Despite escalating his antibiotics, Joseph continued to deteriorate, and what had started off as a simple infection became a blood infection, which is sepsis. I remember receiving the printout of his results. The bacteria in Joseph's body were resistant to every single antibiotics we had had. Every one. There was no S for susceptible, just resistant, resistant, resistant. I felt my stomach drop. How could this have happened? How could an otherwise healthy young man have his life turned into a death sentence from a simple accident? And now, how do you, as a future doctor, tell your patient that nothing that modern medicine can do will save him? Joseph died that day. He was just 25 years old. Now, Joseph's story is unfortunately not unique. Antimicrobial resistance happens because bacteria are incredibly adaptable. Every time we use antibiotics, we give the bacteria a chance for the bacteria to survive or to evolve. The weak ones normally die off, but the stronger ones, the resistant ones, they multiply, they spread. This makes infections harder to treat and almost impossible. Now, I know you might be thinking, but that was Zambia. But regardless of where in the world this would have happened, the bacteria would have had the chance to have evolved and become resistant. And that is because AMR has no borders. It's fueled by how we all use antibiotics on a global scale. Around the world, AMR is turning treatable infections into deadly ones. And by the year 2050, AMR is going to claim 39 million lives, much more than cancer. Let's put that into perspective. That's equal to the population of Oslo, Drammen, Trondheim, Bergen, and Stavanger, all dying every year for the next 25 years. Now, the bacteria that killed Joseph didn't arise in isolation. They most likely arose in one of these three systems. And that's because AMR is considered a one health problem. That means that the health of the humans, the animals, and within the environment are all deeply interconnected. And resistant bacteria don't just stay where they're formed. Similar to how they can travel across borders, they also travel across systems, ecosystems specifically. Now, in order to fight AMR, we thought we need to equip our future doctors and our future veterinarians with the right tools. And so, what can we do? How do you teach a topic that is so important to make it memorable, to make it impactful, so that after 6 or 7 years of any education, that they still go, I am responsible for mitigating this. And so that's why we thought we need something innovative. We need something immersive. How can we help students truly understand their role in this fight? And that's why during my PhD, we developed a digital escape room called Armageddon. In this game, students are immersed in realistic clinical scenarios where they must solve puzzles, they must analyze cases, and make critical decisions about antibiotic use that simulates what they would see in normal everyday practice. It encourages them to think critically about what their role is, the effect that their prescribing will have not only on their patients, but also on the global health scale. So we took our game and we piloted it in two very different locations, once in Trondheim, Norway, and once in Lusaka, Zambia. And it was quite exciting. Overall, both our locations had quite positive results. These graphs behind me show the systems, our game's strong usability, their quite engaging design, and the innovative appeal to it, which was quite surprising that in both settings, a high-income country and a low-income country, that these findings were relevant. Then we also did a focus group discussion, and what we found was that students found the game engaging. A student from Trondheim had said, "I was looking forward to doing something interactive, and that you can learn while playing a game." Similarly, someone in Zambia had said, "It was an engaging method of learning where we're all able to participate. It was interactive, and if it's more engaging, more fun, it's easy to learn like that." Another aspect was that the students were highlighting that the One Health approach, which was not really in their curricula, was then influenced by our game. A student had said that global health threats of AMR, how it's transmitted from the human, animal, and the environmental sectors, were highlighted in a way we hadn't considered before. And we've also found our game to be take-home messages in short. So if we can simplify it to make sure that it's poignant and it's impactful, then maybe they have a better chance of remembering it 7 years later. But the critical takeaway is this. If we do not all act now, we risk slipping back into a pre-antibiotic era, and that is a real article. And so even minor infections have the risk of becoming deadly once again. And I know right now our game is focused on our prescribers, but who's to say? Maybe the next game will be for you guys. Thank you for your attention, everyone.